I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a detailed look at the Tortuga Travel Backpack Lite, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. Let's dive in. Essentially, this backpack is just their 40-liter backpack, but with a couple of different changes. So the biggest change here is obviously going to be the materials. I'm going to pull this up a little bit closer to the camera so that you can see, but instead of their Shell 200 fabric, this is their 630D Cordura ballistic nylon. So it does feel still really durable. That Shell 200 is more of like a sailcloth, so it's a little bit crunchier, a little bit shinier. This definitely has more of like a subtle, sleek look that you would see on like a bunch of other travel backpacks with a similar material. So feels really durable, but this is also a pound lighter than the larger version. This is 3.5 pounds without anything in it, obviously. And it does feel pretty lightweight. The material itself, you can see it's like pretty wavy, wiggly. I have this thing pretty packed out, but you can still fit a few more items in here. So you can see like where that Tortuga logo is, it's kind of buckling a little bit, that material is, and that's more of an aesthetic thing than anything. Personally, it didn't really bother me. There are a lot of things about this bag that I like a lot better than the other version, which, you know, we'll have a comparison video on that, so definitely stay tuned. But with this, I think they did a really good job, like kind of finessing those lighter materials. We have a nice stretchy water bottle pocket on the side here. That's I think it's a 18-ounce water bottle that fits pretty nice and snug inside. That elastic is pretty straightforward, like any elastic you would see kind of on any bag, but it feels really nice. They definitely didn't sacrifice quality in order to get this this bag lighter, so that's great. We also have two side carry handles, one side and then one on the top. And these are really, really comfortable. Like, I was kind of floored whenever I picked this up how comfortable it was. It feels like almost like entirely memory foam. And so no matter, I have kind of tinier hands, so when I grip this, it's still a really comfortable fit because it squishes in so much on the sides without being like floppy or unstructured or something. It is, you know, on the side it's pretty flush. On the top it's a little bit more prominent, but I think it still looks really good. We also have lockable YKK zippers around. You can see that main compartment. There's a little spot for you to slide a lock in, so that's pretty cool. Woojin buckle is pretty straightforward. You know, it's still made with really durable materials. Like I said, it's just a little bit different from that larger version so that you can save a little bit of weight. The harness system takes a very similar approach in the sense that it's pretty similar to that other version, but a little bit different. So what we have here is just like a standard sternum strap on a sliding rail, allows you to get like a really specific fit, really detailed, tailored fit to you. We also have a removable hip belt, and these ones are less big than the other original 40-liter version, and they just remove really easily with the Velcro there. So I'm just gonna flip that off to the side, but they are, like, the padding feels pretty similar. It's a little bit on the stiffer side, whereas with the shoulder straps here and this larger back panel, these are really cushy actually. So you can see there's still substantial cushion here, and it feels really nice. Same with the shoulder straps, and the shoulder straps are really flexible. So I'll show you what it looks like on in a second, but it is just like an overall really comfortable bag, even when it's pretty full. So another feature is that these shoulder straps can detach. So this is not an adjustable torso. That Velcro just kind of keeps that back panel locked in tight. But this torso is for torso length is for 16-inch to 18-inch torsos. I have a 16-inch and it fits a little bit large on me, which you'll see in a second. But I do like that these shoulder straps stow away. You just don't have that same like adjustability, which is, in my opinion, not that big of a deal. But it is, you know, it does have like a decent air channel here for a little bit of breathability, and there's nothing too crazy going on. It's still pretty effective. So this is the pack when it's on and I'm all strapped in. One thing I did forget to mention was these load lifters, which these are at the top of the straps. They just help keep some of that weight, like lift a little bit of weight off and keep it more centered on your back, and they do a really effective job. So with the sternum strap and the hip belt here and then the load lifters, it does a really good job at making this pack feel like it's really locked onto your body, and it does a pretty decent job shifting that weight off of your shoulders as well. So even when I did have this thing fully packed out, it didn't really feel overly heavy. I mean, it's going to be as heavy as like a 40-liter backpack is in a general sense, but it does feel pretty comfortable. One thing I don't love is with the hip belt, we have these like just kind of extra strap flying around. For me, that's just because I have to tighten this pretty much as tight as it goes in order for it to actually do anything. And there are strap keepers here, but as you can see, there's just a lot of extra strap to work with. So it does just either like bulk out there, or it's a little bit hard to manage. You can technically like slide it in here, but it's just not super efficient for me. But overall, super comfortable fit in a very general sense, and I do like how this feels on my back. If you're finding this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. So we're gonna take a look at some of the external pockets here. We already talked about this water bottle pocket, but there are really only 2 additional pockets on this pack, which I know I keep referencing the original Tortuga 40-liter travel backpack. We do have a full review on that, so be sure to check that out, and we'll have a comparison on the 2 of these as well. So just something to keep in mind, that there are just still a few differences between them. But the main thing that this is lacking is like a full admin panel, which I personally don't miss. I don't find myself using admin panels a ton when they're built into a backpack, just because I prefer to, you know, carry all of my tech and those smaller items just in a dedicated pouch that I've chosen. So I personally don't miss that. If that's a huge selling point for you, you're gonna wanna keep that in mind with this pack. But we do have a really fairly roomy pocket on the front there. It's like that side slip pocket basically, and it goes, the pocket itself stops about here and there, and then goes to the other side of the pack. So, you know, you have a pretty solid rectangle of space to work with. I found that to be great for, honestly, if I wasn't using the hip belt, sometimes I would just shove it in there, because like if you're just doing really quick trips, sometimes you don't need all of that just like huge harness system to really like strap you into it. But if you wanted to bring them along, that's a really good place for that, or really just any items you want to grab kind of day to day. But the zipper is nice and tucked away. It's got like a nice fabric welt here, so it stays like a nice sleek aesthetic, which I really like. And then we also have this top pocket, which is this is where you keep, there's like a little key leash, a little short key leash with a very, very simple clip, just basically to keep that within grabbing reach. And then we have a couple other things in here. So I have my phone and wallet and headphones. So I grabbed all those with one hand, which was kind of awkward. But this pocket is really roomy as well. So this pocket actually goes to about here, and then it is this entire front bit. So you do have a lot of storage space of like what's actually, I guess on the outside of the bag, you do have a decent amount of storage space, but it does interact with everything that you have stored in that main compartment, which I'll show you in a second. But the last pocket that I want to talk about is this laptop pocket. So this fits up to a 16-inch laptop. I've got a 13-inch in here, and you can see down to the bottom there, you can see a little bit of a frame sheet as well. This is where you'd access that. But this laptop compartment goes to here, it ends there. So you have a really decent built-in false bottom there. So your tech is really protected. There's no additional storage in here. So this is like a nice felty material. So it's good for keeping your device nice and protected, just like soft from scratches and stuff. But if you want to store like additional tech in here, there's not really space for that. Also, because this is on the back panel and there's not really a substantial frame sheet, honestly, like you can see that I'm able to move this a decent amount. What is in here does kind of sort of become your back panel. So if you're concerned about your tech, I would recommend maybe like doing an additional like text or a laptop sleeve or something like that, just for a little bit of extra protection. But for me personally, I never felt like it was a big deal. You know, laptops are pretty durable. So, but it does add a little bit of structure to the pack just by nature of the fact that your laptop is pretty stiff. So it is really roomy though. If you wanted to add like an extra pouch in there or something, you probably could. But I think that between the storage on the rest of the bag here, you do have a decent amount of space to kind of mix and match all of your storage as needed. All right, so heading into the main compartment, which is the main event. So we have a zipper, which I have lost. Oh, it's up at the top. So we have the dual zippers, so you can really open this pack from any point. You just kind of put it where you want it. And this is just like a classic clamshell design. So immediately, again, referencing the original 40-liter, you're gonna notice some differences with the storage, but I like this better. So what we have on this side are 2 mesh pockets that are zippered. So we have like this kind of, it's like, I think this bottom one's maybe slightly bigger. I don't know, even if they're 50-50, like I can still fit a good amount of stuff in here. So I've got a couple pouches in there. And then in this one, I've got a toiletry bag and then a hat. So everything off to the side there, you can see like how much space is left. So what I was talking about earlier, where when you fill out these front compartments or these front pockets, it starts to cut into the space. This is the space I'm talking about. So you can see, I don't know how easy it is to see actually. I mean, that's how much extra space you have to work with, like how tall that can get. But this bottom half, because no pockets interact with it, you do have a little bit more depth, a little bit more of a bucket shape to work with here. So this one is like slightly larger, I guess you could say. And then this one here is a little bit more shallow, because what this pocket interferes with is this front pocket and then the top pocket. So in the scheme of things, I really don't think you lose that much storage, not any more than if you have like an admin panel, because even those can sometimes cut into the main compartment. But in this case, I like it, instead of being like one big bucket on this side, we have two separate buckets that allow a little bit more separation for your gear. So I like that. I think they did a good job with that design. The mesh is just kind of like, it's not like the softest mesh I've ever felt, but it does feel nice. YKK zippers all throughout, like I mentioned, so really solid zipper pulls, all that kind of jazz. So I like that side, very good for pouches, organization, whatever. On this side here, I just have a pair of shoes, and then this is their new packing cube and their old packing cube. So these are the, this one is a 3-pack, it comes in, this is the largest size, and then this is, at the time of this video, this is the only size in the compression cube. So you can see that pretty much 2 of their cubes fit inside of this compartment, and with like a little room to spare. So you can see though that these cubes are not fully packed out, and I still have like a little bit of space on either side where I could layer a little bit more. And like you can still see, I mean, if you look at it from like the front, you can see there's so much space left in this bag. So this is what I'm talking about, where I said it wasn't fully packed out, and I still felt like it was, like I had a lot of space to go, and even when I packed it out with way more, it was still really comfortable. So if I, take out this cube, and then we just look at this compression cube in here, you can see it's a very roomy main compartment. So one of the main things that I found a little bit more, I guess annoying is only the word I can think of, is that you can see it doing it on this side, where when this is full with gear, like it currently is, I put everything back in those front compartments, it's really pulling down the edges of the bag. And so when I was packing this up, let's say I threw my packing cube in here and then I threw the other one in here, I didn't really have an idea of how much space I actually had left because of how much it was pulling down. So what I found myself doing a lot was like putting stuff in here, pulling up these sides again, because it did honestly happen on the other sides as well. It wasn't just the side that was getting pulled down. And so I'd, pull everything up, get it all situated, and then I would have an idea of how much space I had left. So it's a little bit tedious comparatively, at least to their other bag that has more structure. It's a little bit more tedious to pack because of that. But if the main thing you're trying to solve here is saving weight, then I think this is a really great option. I think they did a really solid job with like a mix of organization without being overkill, but it's not overly simplistic either. So it gives you kind of like guidelines to work within. But in general, I really like my experience with this bag. I really like the carry comfort. I think the materials are great. So overall, I think it's a pretty solid iteration, a lighter version of a backpack that was already pretty great. So there you have it, the Tortuga Travel Backpack Lite. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.